Hi guys, in today's video I wanted to talk about my experience with a gallery and why I don't really want to work with galleries anymore. So when was it? Back in, I think it was 2015 or 2014. I think it was 2015. I got contacted by a gallery here in Melbourne. I'm not going to name anything just because it's not really appropriate to name names and point fingers, but I was contacted by a gallery in Melbourne to participate in a show, which I was pretty excited about because that was my first gallery experience, and they wanted me to make 2 dolls. So I made a wolf and I made a lion, and I went to the opening and everything, so I met the owner, chatted, we got along really well, did all the paperwork and stuff, so everything seemed to be perfectly fine, and there was a lot of well-known artists that were in the show as well, and you know, some of my customers wanted to buy these dolls, so or one of them, so I pointed them in the direction of where to get it, and that doll was sold. And then the other one was just waiting to find a customer, which she said he was trying to find. So that was all fine and dandy. I'd get paid when the other doll sold, which is fair enough, I understand. And then a couple of months went by and he asked me to participate in another show, which was great. And this one had even bigger known artists from around the world. This time he wanted me to make one doll, which was a fox. I have no idea where the fox went either, so I don't know who bought it. But it sold on opening night, did all the paperwork and stuff, and everything was fine. Opening night went really well. A lot of the stuff that was displayed there was sold. And I know one of the artists, Octoplum, she had a sculpture in there called Neon, and or Neon, however you say it, which was a really nice piece, and that sold prior to the show, I think, and my piece sold you know, during the show, and he told me it sold during the show, which was great. Had a little sold sticker and stuff, and yeah, no problem or anything. And then a couple of months went by and people were starting to talk and pull out of his future shows. So there was a couple of shows that were coming up, and I noticed these artists had pulled out from having a show with him. I also had a this was actually the last show that we had. I had some features on a art thing, I won't name that either, on Instagram, and they said that they didn't want to work with this gallery, and I thought that was a bit strange. Obviously something's happened for them to not want to work with that gallery, so I was sort of a bit suspicious then. And then obviously the opening night and stuff went on. So a couple of months went past, and yeah, people started talking and saying that they weren't getting paid for their work, and that artists hadn't been paid for months and months and months. So obviously everybody that was involved with the gallery, all of the artists, kind of started talking to each other and realised that we weren't going to get paid. So we sort of made a post to be aware of what was happening, and he sort of closed down on all of his accounts and sort of became really difficult to contact. I then contacted him saying if I could pick up the doll that wasn't sold from the first show. He replied with a pretty sarcastic, nasty email and said that I wouldn't be getting it back, basically, and I wouldn't be getting paid either, and that I had slandered him and blah blah blah. which I kind of just spoke about my experience with him, so it wasn't really slander, it was just stating the truth. And I'm always going to support fellow artists over people that don't want to pay people. So I mean, he could say whatever he wants to say, but I still would have done what I did, which was just warn other artists about it and share my experience, so whatever. And then I thought about going to the gallery to just pick it up because we're in the same town, but you know, I'm a small lady, so if anything happened then I wouldn't really have a leg to stand on. So I just decided to cut my losses, I guess, and let it go. I do know where one of the dolls went. It's one of my customers that have bought a few dolls, but I don't think they know what actually happened and that I didn't actually get paid for it. So a couple of months went by again, and I received a letter of bankruptcy in the mail, and basically, if you don't know what that means, it means you don't get your money ever. So I let all of the other artists that I was speaking to know that I received this letter in the mail. Basically it's a cease and desist letter, and saying that, yeah, I won't get my money back. But I found out that he had opened a business in his partner's name, and basically opened a business. So if you're familiar with bankruptcy, you can't run a business for X amount of years, but obviously you can when you open it up in your partner's name and continue running the business. I know everybody has to work, but yeah, doing something like that is a bit suspicious and dodgy to me. So yeah, I contacted everybody that was overseas that I was speaking to, and they didn't receive the letter, so I'm assuming it might just be an Australian thing. But yes, the letter that basically says you're not getting your money. So that was $3 that I had lost money on, and they were $300 to $400 each. So, you know, it's $1,200 that I didn't get and I lost, and you know, that happens. It shouldn't happen, I guess, but sometimes it does. All we were really asking was some communication, but that didn't happen. And I mean, communication goes a long way. So if you communicate, explain the situation, say, hey, look, I'm struggling with money to pay people, you know, I'm struggling with the business, people understand. That doesn't mean you should keep trying to chase your losses, which is what seems to me that what he was doing was chasing his losses and trying to get out of this situation, which I have empathy for. I know what it feels like, and it can be shit. But to stooge a lot of artists like that is kind of unacceptable. So that's kind of why I don't really want to work with galleries anymore. It's that, and also you know, they take a huge commission chunk out of your income. So when your pieces aren't hugely, like, highly priced like mine are, they're quite cheap for what they are, there's a big chunk of income that comes out of it. So I prefer to focus on making my following bigger and, you know, connecting with my audience. I'm trying to anyway. It's if Instagram actually and YouTube actually feeds my stuff out. But yeah, that's pretty much sums up what had happened. And yeah, I know a lot of other artists that lost a lot of money from them. You know, artists that had solo shows with him didn't get paid for their solo shows or what they sold. He had a lot of work in there when I went to both openings, and a lot of it was sold. So you know, people don't know where their work went. I don't know if the customers who bought them know that the artists didn't get paid. So yeah, it was just a really poor experience, I guess. And I know galleries aren't actually like that, but this is like my first experience with a gallery and it was awesome. So I tend probably not to want to work with galleries anymore. That's if a gallery were to approach me and they're a reputable gallery, and I mean, I follow a few on Instagram, so if I know what they're like, then yeah, definitely I'd consider it. But I think actively pursuing any gallery shows, nah, not for me. And I know a lot of people ask if they can, my work is in any galleries in their city, but yeah, nah, don't think so. And also the fact that in my experience with my work, they look a lot like plush toys, and I know a lot of galleries like more fine art work, which mine doesn't look like fine art or anything, it just looks like a plush toy. I understand that. So a lot of people are a lot of galleries are sort of turned off by that look, I guess. But, or maybe they just don't fit their gallery type or style, who knows. So yeah, that's my experience with a gallery. If you've had any experiences similar to mine, let me know. I know maybe some of the artists watch my videos, I don't know, or follow me. They can chime in too. I don't want to like name names or anything. So I'm not going to do that. But anyway, yeah, that's the story. And yeah, in the meantime, you can check out my shop at creaturesofnat.com, and also my social media, Facebook and Instagram at creaturesofnat. Support me on Patreon if you like. I have heaps of new things coming up. And yeah, don't forget to like, subscribe, all that stuff. And I'll probably catch you in the next one. Bye!